are coming to you from the city beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where tonight Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball as Paul Caneco, Adam Dunn, and our Sox as they get set to butt heads with Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder, and their Detroit Tigers. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson. We get set to bring you the first of this three-game set. And the first of this 10-game homestand. We'll have 3 with these guys, 4 with Cleveland, and 3 with Minnesota. So the Sox coming off a victory yesterday, breaking that 9-game losing streak. We won that ball game 4-2 in Baltimore. But tonight, what a pitching matchup. 2 All-Stars battling it out on that bump.
I'm pretty excited because this is what baseball is all about. 2 of your best going head-to-head. And in the case of Max Scherzer, he's looking for win number 20. As you can see, first in wins, second in strikeouts. ERA, well, he's down there at 8, but still pretty good. And batting average against, he's at 4th. So when you take a look at what he's done against our Sox at 4-0 with an ERA of 126, you realize that this is a pretty tough customer. On the other side of the field, he's also got a pretty tough customer, and that's Chris Sale. Although he's 3-4 lifetime against Detroit, lately he's been throwing the ball unbelievably well. 15 1/3 over his last couple of starts. He's fanned 18. He's only walked 3. Chris is starting to get the changeup over the plate. The slider, when he gets it over, is absolutely unbelievable. So Sale is awfully tough. It's a great pitching matchup. It's one of those things that you look forward to. In a season that hasn't had many highlights, this is going to be one of them.
And Chris Sale said something we all like to hear. We want to win as many ball games from here out as we can. We might not be in playoff contention, but we have pride on the line, and we like to hear that. So our southpaw will have his hands full tonight, specifically with Victor Martinez, who has been all world against him and our Sox this season. So sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. And by Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com.
Welcome back to beautiful U.S. Cellular Field. It's a red hot night. It's 90 degrees, and the Tigers come to town, and they're not exactly the hottest team around. In fact, in the month of September, they've actually struggled. In their 5 losses this month, they've only averaged 2 runs a game. That's after averaging 5.1 runs a game this year, which is second in the major leagues. The batting average is way down there. And one of the reasons is Miguel Cabrera is not swinging the bat like he can. It could very well be that injuries have gotten to him a bit. So Jim Leyland has his team 5.5 games in front of Cleveland. Cleveland is winning tonight, and he's got his ace going to the mound. So let's take a look at how Jim Leyland's going to line up his Tigers tonight. Austin Jackson is going to lead it off with Torrey Hunter in the 2 spot. Then Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder. Victor Martinez, who's been all everything against our ball club this year. The rookie, Nick Castellanos. Then Omar Infante, who's been red hot, with Brian Pena and Jose Iglesias rounding it out. The defense, and how they're going to line up behind Chris Sale. Louis Viciedo, Diaz, and Denks in the outfield, with Gillespie, Ramirez, Beckham, and Konerko in the infield. Josh Fegley gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is none other than the ace of the staff, Chris Sale. For his 27th start of the year, looking for his 11th win, his ERA still below 3. 199 strikeouts this year, and his control has been almost letter perfect, especially the last 3 times out. The umpires for the game tonight, the crew chief Brian Gorman behind the plate. Tony Randazzo is at first, Larry Vanover is at second, and Manny Gonzalez is at third. We told you about the Indians being 5.5 games back heading into tonight. The Royals, who were fading, 7 games back. And, of course, then the Twins and the Sox rounded out. So they've thrown the ball around the infield. That means we're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stoney, thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox Baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. So happy you could join us for the first of this 10-game homestand. Center fielder Austin Jackson will lead it off against our 24-year-old southpaw. And the first pitch of the ball game. Taken up high. Jackson comes in at 277, 11 homers, 42 knocked in. And that is into right field. Jordan Danks with a can of corn. Tigers hitting at 286 as a club with a 3.72 ERA. Tigers 4 games over on the road at 38-34, while at home they're 44-27.
One thing you don't have to worry about with this Tiger team is base stealing. They've only swiped 32 all year. They've been thrown out 19 times, and Jim Leyland depends on hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Here's Torrey Hunter, 38-year-old veteran, having a good year for him. 298, 16 homers, 72 knocked in. Hunter 4 for 12 lifetime off Chris with a homer. And there's a little 4-hopper. 2 down. And here at the ballpark, 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gaps, and 400 straightaway center. So here's Cabrera. Miguel hitting at 353, 43 homers, 133 knocked in.
On this road trip, he's just 2 for 13, so it's been a little difficult for him, and maybe the injuries are starting to pile up somewhat.
And maybe some of the other managers are just starting to wise up a little bit.
Well, you couldn't blame him for pitching around him, and could very well be that in trying to pitch around him, maybe he's expanding his zone.
Well, as we've talked about it, if that got him.
He swung at it.
He swung at it, so.
So he gets hit in the knee, and they give him a called strike. And Cabrera's looking at Brian Gorman going, wait a second.
He wants to take his handkerchief out.
Yeah.
wipe his eyes. I'll tell you, he and Adrian Beltre and Prince Fielder are some of my favorite guys to watch play. They're fun to watch. The 0-2 pitch fights that one off. But we talked about it before. If you got first base open late in the ball game and it's a tie game.
And I believe he's just been thrown out of the game, which is not a bad thing from our standpoint.
Well, from our standpoint, it's great.
Now what Prince Fielder is trying to do is get between Cabrera and Gorman, because it's one thing to lose Cabrera for tonight's game. It's another thing to let him get close enough to Gorman to make contact and maybe get a suspension.
Well, Larry Vanover's come in and done exactly that. What he should have. He should have been there a little bit earlier. I don't think he thought it was going to be this prolonged. But one thing about it, on the other side of that page, if it was just, unless he started cursing him, if it were just some chatter, these people, a lot of people in these stands tonight came to pay to watch that number 24 play.
No, I agree with you, and it could very well be that Brian Gorman might have said, hey, look, that's enough. Now, watch the swing. Okay, and now right there,
Jim's going ahead, maybe he can get thrown out himself. Or maybe he's not. And now he's gone. Yep.
Now Jim's going to get his money's worth. As long as he's gone and Cabrera's gone.
Yeah, you'd have to know what went on inside the conversation. If there was any vulgar language, cursing going on, then okay. But if it was just a constant, hey, Brian, come on, I didn't swing at that pitch, blah, 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 whatever it may have been, and he throws him out, that's a different story.
As soon as he fouls it off, then he says a couple of words that Brian Gorman apparently didn't like, and that caused the ejection.
Yeah, he threw him out for that. I'd be surprised if he cursed him in those few words. Usually, if you're going to do that, you're going to get in his face or whatever. But it is what it is. He gone.
And Chris Sale was out there, and he was talking with Larry Vanover on the mound, and he had his glove over his mouth. Could very well be he was saying, is there any way you can throw out Victor Martinez also?
So
Santiago's going to come on, and he's going to take the at-bat. However, I do believe if he goes down on strikes,
it's Cabrera's strikeout.
If he walks, it's his walk.
Yeah. If he had one strike and he goes down, then it's his. But it's 0-2. Well, yeah, you'd have to know what was said. So 2 out, 0-2 the count. Now, sometimes an umpire will tell you, okay, that's enough. I don't want to hear any more. And if you say another word, you're gone. You don't have to curse. And that may have been the case right there. There's a breaking ball. So a bad inning for the Tigers, a good inning for our Sox. There's no score.
Back at the ballpark after some fireworks in that first inning with Cabrera ejected. Let's take a look at how Robin is going to line up our Sox for tonight's game. De Aza, Beckham, and Ramirez to lead it off. Then Dunn, Konerko, and Gillespie in the middle with Viciedo, Danks, and Fegley.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. As the 29-year-old right-hander Max Scherzer going for victory number 20 against 2 defeats.
Our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Max Scherzer. His ERA 2.88, 209 strikeouts, and 190 in the third.
First pitch strike to De Aza. Hitting at 265, 15 homers, 57 knocked in. Sox hitting it that 250 mark, as I mentioned, 3.90. And De Aza 6 for 26 lifetime off Scherzer with a homer. Change up, had him off balance, flips it foul, and the count 1-2. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of disappointed fans tonight.
But one of them is not Chris Sale.
No, not at all. And this is one of the reasons why.
Well, Chris Sale came in after the inning and was not particularly unhappy that Cabrera will not have another at bat tonight.
Well, Cabrera has a couple of home runs this year off Chris.
Last time out against Boston, Scherzer was terrific. 7 innings, 2 earned runs. He fanned 8, walked 3, but he lost that game 2-1.
There's a good way to start.
Now, the game plan that our hitters should have been looking at was what Oakland did to him 2 starts ago. They get a no decision in that one, but he went 5 innings, gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned. And Oakland just had one of those nights where they hit everything against Scherzer.
Here's Beckham. Takes first pitch strike. Gordon at 276, 4 homers, 21 knocked in.
Scherzer's got a very good slider. His straight change, when he's right, his straight change is close to unhittable.
It's one of the best in the business. When you can throw 96, 97, and you've got a good slider, and at times a slurve that is tough, and yet you can say his best pitch is his changeup, you got yourself a heck of a pitcher.
Liable to go 19-2.
Yeah, at least. And that's off the corner, just off the corner.
Well, Scherzer's learned a little something from Verlander in that he's thrown anywhere right now from 91 to 94, but he always has 96, 97, even up to 98 in his back pocket. That will most likely come later on.
So it's a 2-1 count to Beckham. Gordon has faced Scherzer 28 times, has 5 hits.
Iglesias at shortstop gives them a lot better range than they had with Peralta.
And that one's off the corner. Baltimore has just taken a 2-1 lead over the Yankees. The game in the bottom of the 5th. Big game for both teams. Big series. There he goes. And there's ball 4.
Let's take a look at how Detroit is going to line up behind Max Scherzer. It's Castellanos, Jackson, and Hunter in the outfield with Santiago, Iglesias, and Fade and Fielder in the infield. Brian Pena with a nod behind the plate. So the defense this year, although they usually don't have a lot of range, they've been pretty good. But with Iglesias now, they're a whole lot better. That being said, Castellanos will have some problems in left field. He's a rookie who's got a really good bat, and they've had a hard time finding a place for him to play consistently.
Well, the 2 guys that have turned the Tiger defense around have been Infante and Torrey Hunter. There was hardly 0 range last year, and we, for the most part, just handed them the divisional title. On September 24th, we had a lead of 1 game. Prior to that, a couple days prior to that, had a 3-game lead. And they came back and won it by 3 as we just couldn't score. But their defense is a lot better this season. As that is chop foul. Austin Jackson had to play everywhere in the outfield last year.
Well, he can do that. He can cover a whole lot of ground alley to alley. One of the better center fielders around. Reminds me a lot of Adam Jones as far as his ability to go get him.
Two on, nobody out, 0-2 the count. And we got to stay out of you know what. 1-2. Adam Dunn, the on-deck hitter. And he's throwing a lot of pitches here in the bottom of the first inning to these three hitters.
And you can see just by looking at his arms how warm and humid it is. So it's not a particularly good night to throw a whole lot of pitches here in Chicago.
And a full count. Don't help him out. Ball 4, base hit.
89 degrees, which is fairly warm at almost 7:30 at night.
Scherzer 27 games over 500 in his career, with 17 of them coming this season. And that's into right field. Corey Hunter playing him shallow. All right, so with 2 on 1 out, let's check out our Farmers Insurance picks to click tonight. Jumanji, our director and the crew, well, they went with Gordon Beckham. Steve's going with Tank. And Mort and Karen Levy and I, we're going to go with Alejandro De Aza, who's standing at second base, waiting to be picked up, waiting to be scored. And here's Adam. Adam at 224, 31 homers, 82 driven in. And Adam yesterday just hit a monster of a home run in Baltimore. Hit it on Utah Street.
That time he got one that he would love to have back again. It was thigh high. It was on the outer third. And Menard's pitch tracks will show you the pitch was right there. Very hittable, but Dunn fouled it back. Adams had a pretty good run at it this year against these Tigers.
So they're having trouble locking up here on September 9th. Count evens at 1. Just tuning in, De Aza single to lead it off. Beckham walked. Ramirez flied to Torrey Hunter and right. And the count 1-1 on Adam Dunn. That ball's high and deep to center field. Austin Jackson's got the bead. Everybody tagging. And everybody advancing. So 2 out. Ducks on the pond.
Unfortunately, that wind is blowing across. Adam hit it well. Not quite well enough. Jackson had some room, And now Cabrera with a chance to put the Sox on top early.
Paulie, 37 at-bats against Scherzer, has 8 hits, 6 of which stayed in the park.
Scherzer has 4 wild pitches this year. And since August 26th, Paul has been swinging the bat pretty well. Using right field very well as the pitchers consistently try to stay away from him.
Well, he's going to his go-to stance and routine at the plate. He has several routines. One where you'll put the bat on the shoulder, lean back from the waist, and then get set from there. He's had a lot of success with this particular routine. Some guys will have different routines against right-handers as they will against left-handers. Two and one to count.
Well, that particular pitch was, I've got first base open. You're looking fastball. I'm going to throw you a slider. If I miss with it, well, I miss with it. But he threw a good slider 2-0 on a fastball count.
And another one. So the count 2-2 with 2 out, 2 on.
The 25th pitch on the way, which is a whole lot of work in this first inning.
Now they want to go over it again.
Well, Scherzer, when he does become a free agent, could be auditioning for the Boston Red Sox, because this is how their pitching staff works. Take as much time as you possibly can and hope that the hitter forgets how to hit. And if you're a pitching coach, and Jeff Jones is that, you'd like to see your guy move a little more quickly. But if he gets out of this without giving up any runs, it will have been a successful inning.
As well for us, making him work this many. Fouls that one away. Yeah, when you can get a guy up there with 25, 30 pitches in the first inning, even if you don't score, it's still been okay. Yeah, if you got a lineup full of first ball, fastball hitters, and you got a guy with 4 pitches out there, a lot of times he's not going to go to 25 or 30 pitches.
That's not a bad number. Only 7 first inning runs in 28 starts. That's one of the ways you go 19-2.
And there's the base hit. That's going to score 1. And the ball's bobbled by Jackson. It's going to score 2. And it's a 2-0 Sox lead. So Paulie outweighted it.
RBI 48 and 49. This is a mistake with the fastball. Even at 95, you leave it middle in, and good chance that Paul's going to get a base hit on it. Even if Jackson comes up with it, odds are very slim he's going to get Beckham at the plate. Gordon just taking off. No hesitation whatsoever. And an early lead against Max Scherzer. And justifiably so. Single, 2 runs batted in, no error charged to Jackson.
Yeah, he was running all the way. He was going to score.
Yeah.
And that pitch is outside. So the count 1-1 to Gillespie. Connor has faced Scherzer 6 times, has 2 hits, 1 homer. Well, from our standpoint, I love to see pitchers of the opposition work very slow like he is. And on the other side of the page, I love to see our guys work as quick as they can.
And Chris Sale's going to do that. Josh Fegley's getting him the ball back quickly tonight.
Well, we got a couple of guys that will work slow if you let them. Last year, we had a good year. It was a fun year. And we played some very quick ball games last season. This year, we have played some of the longest in the American League. In fact, as he strikes him out, so he lets the run producer, Paul Konerko, with first base open, lets him hurt him, and Sox lead at 2-0.
By Miller Lite.
And Sox fans, now is a chance to tell us what you think and win an autographed White Sox jersey in the process. Simply visit whitesox.com/survey during today's game and provide us your feedback. In doing so, you'll be entered to win an autographed Gordon Beckham jersey. So whitesox.com/survey. 2-0 good guys here in the top of the second. It'll be Fielder, Martinez, and Castellanos.
If the Tigers do indeed hold off the Indians, and Tigers are losing, Indians are winning tonight, but they look no further than head-to-head play. Tigers 15-4 against the Tribe this year, so they hammered them.
Well, we got these 3 with us. Then they got an off day on Thursday, and then they go home. 3 with Kansas City, 4 with Seattle, and 3 with us. And then they finish up 3 with Minnesota and 3 with Miami. So their schedule looking pretty good for them. Two balls and a strike to Fielder. Prince, 22 homers, 97 knocked in. Those numbers are a little misleading because of the way he protects Miguel Cabrera. First 2 years Cabrera's ever had any protection. Got time. And that's out number 1. So here's Victor Martinez. Victor, 294, 11 homers, 73 driven in. But 9 for 16 lifetime off Chris Sale.
Somewhat surprising in that Victor Martinez, much better hitter from the left side. He's hit 11 home runs, 9 have come left-handed, hitting .305 as a left-hander, .273 right-handed, but still one of the best clutch hitters on this team.
Well, this year Victor's hitting .408 against us. In lifetime, .323 with 20 homers and 84 knocked in.
Much more comfortable to face Tigers last year when Victor was out the entire season. The year before that, he hit .400 with runners in scoring position. So,
yeah, it's the best 3-4-5 in baseball.
Yeah, he can get the job done, and he gets it done in a clutch.
Two 2-0 Sox if you're just joining us. Big mistake on a fastball to Canerco by Scherzer. And Paulie made him pay. What new? One out single. You can cancel a post-game show.
That breaking ball wasn't one of Chris's best. Instead of breaking sharply across the plate, it just kind of spun up there on the outside part of the plate. And Victor, as he's done consistently low these many years, with a hard hit ball to center field.
So here's Castellanos. Right off the end of the bat. Get over there, Chris. No. We're going to get him anyway. Too slow. 2 down.
Good play by Paul as he comes across. But no real chance as Martinez decided to slide a little quickly just in case Alexei was going to come across the bag and force him by throwing underneath to get down.
Omar Infante. There's an unsung hero in this ball club. It's got to be this guy.
He's been about the hottest hitter on their team of late.
Tops that foul. Hitting at .325, 9 homers, 44 knocked in. 2 out, 1 on. Chris making his 27th start of the season. 2-1 this year against the Tigers, 3-4 lifetime.
Infante on the road trip hitting .409. He leads all American League second baseman with that .325 batting average. So not only is he very dependable in the field, but he is swinging the bat well. And it is a very warm, humid night here at the Old Ball Yard.
Little nubber. And that'll retire the side. Nothing across. They did get their first hit. They strand one after an inning and a half. 2-0 White Sox.
Live on Comcast Sportsnet, Chris Bowden, Jim Miller, and Dan Jiggets take you right to the field to hear from players and coaches and deliver the best analysis in town. Bears Postgame Live, presented by Nissan, after every Bears game, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And how about the Wildcats? Putting it on the orange. Coach Fitz? Yes.
They're a rated football team. And a pretty good one.
They've been good for a while now.
Yeah.
Here's Tank. Tank's been swinging that bat. Checks it up. Takes a strike. Scherzer got the benefit of the doubt on that one. Oh, and 2 the count. And the mayor, Joe Groove's Illini.
Even Joe Groove was surprised at that. He told me the Illini were in line for a beating. Didn't work out that way.
Got him. 1 out. Here's Jordan. Thanks. Hitting at .239, 3 homers. He's driven in 7. And he has faced Scherzer 3 times, has 1 hit. Starts him off with a changeup. First of 3 with these guys. Tomorrow night, Eric Johnson against Rick Porcello. So make your plans to be with us. If you can't, that game will be over WCIU. And then on Wednesday, in the finale, Jose Quintana against Anibal Sanchez. And that game right back here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Well, it appears that Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, might have had a talk with Scherzer and said, if you don't your infielders to drop dead behind you, you'll speed it up a bit. Because at least this inning, he's working twice as fast as he worked last inning.
It's unbelievable that a pitching coach have to tell a 29-year-old veteran who's as good as Scherzer
to speed it up.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Sometimes you get out there and you just lose track of what's going on.
Well, the byword in years past, of course, the culture's changed so much in the game, but the byword in years past, if you get beat in a hurry.
Well,
if you get beat, make it because you're working too fast.
And also, look, he had no rhythm in that first inning. Gave up the base hit on a high fastball. Then he walked Beckham. So the rhythm really wasn't there, and then made a mistake on Paul. And don't think that it helped very much that he was working as slowly as he was. In order to get the rhythm back, you have to work pretty quickly, and he's doing it here.
Well, you take Scherzer's got some of the best stuff in the American League.
He has had that for a long time. Former #1 draft pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks. The arm was always there.
But he didn't have a changeup like he has now.
No, he did not.
And there's ball 4. So the second walk. But the thing is that you take guys for some reason who got tremendous ability. And to this day, the best 4 pitches I've ever seen one guy have was by Sudden Sam McDowell. With a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, a curveball that you could hear, a slider that you could occasionally hear, and a tremendous changeup. And one of the slowest workers you want to see. And they tried to speed him up, and he just would not do it. He wanted to pitch at his pace.
Well, there's a handful of guys that were wonderfully successful and very slow workers.
Oh, sure. There's always exceptions everywhere.
Right, but most of the time, you get your Greg Maddux type or Fergie Jenkins. We talked about Bob Gibson, guys that got the ball, worked very quickly. Other side of the page, Rick Sutcliffe won the Cy Young Award in 1984, was second in the voting in 1989, and he worked torturously slow. Gaylord Perry had to work slow because he went through his gyrations to try to get in the hitter's mind that he was going to throw a spitter every pitch.
Yeah, he played probably more with the hitter's mind than any pitcher in the last 50 years.
And so he took a lot of time in going through all of the gyrations that he had to do.
As there's a double play to rack him up. Hit into by Feckley. So he completed 2. We lead it 2-0.
Tomorrow night, catch the season premiere of the Lance Briggs Show on Comcast Sportsnet. The Bears linebacker will take you inside the Bears' win over the Bengals and preview next week's matchup with the Vikings. Go inside the game from a player's perspective with the Lance Briggs Show presented by GWC Law. Tomorrow night at 11 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Brian Pena. Pena will lead it off here in the top of the third. He'll be followed by Jose Iglesias and back to the top of the order with Austin Jackson. But getting back to working fast and slow. If you take a guy like Mark Burley and you consider his stuff against any of the people we just aforementioned, okay, it's the worst.
Wouldn't compare, right?
No chance. Okay, had probably some of the worst stuff, if not the worst stuff, of any starter in the American League. Okay. Yet, for the 14th year now, he's wins in double figures.
I was going to say, look at his over 500 lifetime.
And 200 innings plus every year. And is the fastest worker in the game. You take a guy like Catfish Hunter, who had comparable, maybe threw 3 or 4 inches harder than Burley. No more than that. Is in Cooperstown. In his day, he was the fastest worker in the American League. You take a Jamie Moyer, who pitched for all those years. Now, he was not as fast as those two guys, but still, he got it and threw it. On the move. Nice peg. He knew he had time. Takes it, makes it. 1 out.
That's a real good play by Alexi in the hole. Because even though Pena isn't the fastest man around, this throw is right on the button.
So here's Iglesias. When he joined the Tigers, he was hitting .320 with Boston. And everybody was shocked at that. He's still hitting .320.
They're still shocked at it. But meantime, it could very well be he's a lot better hitter than people thought. Because he was so good with the glove that they tended to overlook the bat.
Well, they played in Kansas City, 3-game series. They finally won the finale of that 3-game set. They hit 1 home run in that series, and Iglesias was the guy that hit it. Terrific looking young ball player. Dave Dombrowski has really pulled a real good deal to cover their behinds. They just do get him. Wow.
That was a whole lot closer than Gordon thought it was going to be. And Paul, when he realized where Gordon was, Gordon took a whole lot of time and barely got it there in time. So Iglesias really hustled down the line. You love to see that. And he got him by an eyelash.
If that. There's a strike to Jackson, who went out to Jordan Danks in right field. Very quickly, 0-2, and Chris getting it and throwing it. We just left a place that had one of the fastest working guys in the American League. And all he did was win 20 games 8 times. He would get it and throw it.
And that was Jim Palmer, and that's what Baltimore did. And so with Chris Sale striking out Jackson, it's a 1-2-3 inning, and we move to the bottom of the third. It's a 2-0 Sox lead.
hashtag White Sox Talk, and we'll read one back later in the game, and it just might be yours. 2-0 White Sox. Bottom of the third inning. 2-0 for our guys. No runs, 1 hit, no errors for their guys.
Well, even though Chris Sale is throwing the ball very well, this is still, even without Cabrera, a very explosive lineup. If you missed it, Miguel Cabrera thrown out of the game the first at bat. And Chris Sale, not the most unhappy man in the park to see that.
Piazza started us off with a single and came around to score in the bottom of the first inning. Yeah, Chris was, I think, pretty happy about the ejection of Miguel Cabrera. And here's why we noticed it. 1-2 the count.
Now, you can hardly blame him. Anytime you can take one of the world's best hitters out of the equation, you got to consider yourself a very fortunate man.
And even more so when you can take the world's best hitter out. Because that's what he is. He is the world's best hitter. And might be the best one we have ever seen before it's over with. Got him.
Let's take a look at what happened in the first inning. Chris Sale throws a slider, and it hits Cabrera off the back foot, but Tom Gorman says he swung at it. Now, Cabrera wants an appeal to first base to Tony Randazzo, but Gorman says they don't have to do that. Then he fouls it off, and then he has a couple of words for Brian Gorman. The only thing you can think about is that Gorman told him he doesn't want to hear anymore, and he got the boot. And later on, Jim Leland, coming out to protect his departed hitter at that point, also got the boot.
Well, again, there might be some history there between them. But if Brian felt like that he should throw him, he did. It's just that simple. Gordon walked and scored in the first inning. I'm from the other side of the page, though. I love to see great players play.
You want to see the best against the best?
Exactly right. I wish he hadn't thrown him out.
I wish he'd thrown him out for the series.
No, I like to play against the best. That's what it's all about. That was one of the great Ted Williams philosophies, because they didn't have the tweets and the internet and all that stuff. They didn't have the information back in his day on who was pitching. Occasionally they could get it. They would make some calls. But if they couldn't find out, then what he did is he trained his mind to whereas he envisioned their best pitcher. If they had a 20-game winner, he was the one he was going to think about. Envision his best fastball, his best curveball, his best stuff, who was umpiring, which way the wind was blowing. Got him. 2 down. So then if they got to the ballpark and the best wasn't pitching, whoever was out there was in trouble.
I would say, judging by the lifetime numbers, whoever was out there any night was pretty much in trouble.
Well, you know, Ted said without question the best stuff he ever saw was Herb Score. And he said the only time he was ever afraid at the plate was on a pitch from Herb Score. He said he threw one, and he said he was not trying to hit me. He got away from it. He said he threw one behind my head, and he said to this day I don't know how I ever got out of the way of it. He said that's the only time I've ever been scared at the plate.
Well, growing up in Cleveland, Herb Score was one of our heroes.
Oh, sure.
And seeing those shots of the Gil McDougall line drive that felled him on the mound, and there are things that you just never forget during the course of your life. Those were some of them. And
well, Herb said, though, yeah, indirectly that did lead to it, him getting injured. But he said he got over that. What hurt him was the next spring he went out there. He was trying to impress everybody with how he was over it, and he started throwing his curveball too early in spring, and he popped his elbow.
I was going to say, he wound up with a bad arm. But those pictures, the graphic nature of that, and when you consider that in those days, the baseball and the bats were not near as lively as they are today. So you guys have to be a little bit lucky in this game also.
That's in the center field. So this is going to be a quick 1-2-3 inning for Scherzer.
This fourth inning is brought to you by the new Cool Ranch Doritos, Locos Tacos from Taco Bell. Live Mas.
Torrey Hunter, first pitch to the veteran. Taken for a strike here in the top of the fourth inning. 2-2-0 for our Sox. 0-1-0 for their Tigers. As always, a lot of Tiger fans in attendance. Make the trip around the lake. 0-2 the count. Pretty good pitch, didn't get it. Chris has hit 13 batters this year, and most of them have been right-handed with a breaking ball. There's another pretty good pitch didn't get.
This one could have gone either way, and it went Hunter's way.
And that's a souvenir right side. After 5 down in Texas, no score. Rangers are hosting the Pirates. So the dreaded leadoff walk.
Time now for the whiff, brought to you by Head and Shoulders, and it comes from Austin Jackson. That one misses outside, and then he throws a fastball right by him. And with that strikeout, it was number 200 for Chris Sale, the third left-hander in Sox history, along with Wilbur Wood and Gary Peters, to reach that mark. So very important whiff.
Santiago. Well, Floyd Bannister almost did it back in 1983. He had 193. Change up. Just more or less flipped that one up there and missed, so the count 2-0. Santiago grounded out to short. He came in to hit for Cabrera, who was ejected, as you just saw. And the count was 0-2.
Santiago, a better hitter from the right side, and he pretty much knows that with Fielder coming up next, he's going to see a fastball here. Now, he doesn't have great speed, so he becomes a good candidate for 2 if you can get him to hit the ball on the ground.
That should be his process. And there it was.
There you see the disparity.
Yeah, that's part of the thinking by major league hitters, is how you get to a 2-0 count or a 3-1 count against who's pitching and how you got there. And the count 3-1.
Chris is digging himself into a hole if he does not get Santiago, because then you're getting into the real tough part of their lineup.
Full count. He gone. Number 201.
Well, Santiago tried to back his way out of that, but that ball had the whole plate. So sometimes when you're fooled, you try to convince the umpire that, oh, this ball was way inside. But Brian Gorman knows that that was a perfect pitch.
So here's Prince. Hit a little soft ground ball up the middle, and Alexei threw him out. Good breaking ball. The 0-2. They're going to shuffle it. They're going to get the lead, man.
Well, despite the fact that Fielder's grounded into 19 double plays, he doesn't run all that badly for a big man. And this is slow developing play, and Gordon taking a shot, but no chance to get him as Prince is hustling down the line, realizing that if he can beat the play, it keeps the inning alive for a guy that's tormented Chris Sale and the Sox.
He has their only base hit, and he's now 10 for 17 lifetime off Chris. He has always been a Sox killer. Backdoor breaking ball. One and one to count. Gap out there in right center. And that's a souvenir right side.
Chris does not have the big fastball tonight, but it's good. It's around 93 miles an hour. We saw that age-old English D for the Detroit Tigers. As you can see, Sale has been much better here at home than he has been on the road.
Change up, no. 2-2. He got that single on a bad breaking ball from Chris. And that's in the hole. Right over the top, one hop. Yeah, nice play, nice throw. And that'll retire the side. We're to the bottom of the fourth. We still lead it 2-0. Tweets with Sox in game live only at csnchicago.com, brought to you by Comcast Business Class. And there's Jim Thome and Executive Vice President Kenny Williams. A little chit chat. Jim, of course, his 500th home run coming in a Sox uniform. One of the baseball's all-time nice guys. So here's Dunn. Adam went out deep to center field.
And Adam Dunn looks back at Brian Gorman and just shaking his head because that ball was way outside.
Breaking ball, back door.
Well, that last one was a good one. But he's in an 0-2 hole.
And he's hot. And don't blame him. Sox fans, join us on Saturday, September 14th at 6:10 for halfway to St. Patty's Day and post-game fireworks presented by Miller Lite. Also, the first 20,000 adults aged 21 and over will receive a green White Sox cap. So purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/SPD. Here's Paulie. He came up with 2 out men on second and third. Fouled off a couple of pitches. Scherzer made a mistake with a fastball, and Paulie hit a line drive in the center field to knock in those 2 runs. With Gillespie on deck. Scherzer getting it and throwing it now, and quickly 0-2.
Complete reversal from that first inning.
This is when, if you're Sox hitters, now you start stepping out on him. Tries to throw a dart right there. Missed it outside.
Well, now Scherzer does have his rhythm. He's also about to deliver pitch number 68.
Count hangs at 1-2. Shot. Santiago stays right with it. And that's out number 2.
With the Tigers since 1980. Your 20-game winners, Jack Morris a couple of times, Bill Gullickson in 91, and Justin Verlander 24-5 in 2011. Scherzer is trying to join that exclusive club. This is his 3rd shot at his 20th win.
And here's Connor. He struck out, called out. What's your opinion on Morris for Cooperstown?
Well, if you take a look at his big game and big game ability, you would say yes. You take a look at his body of work, and actually I think it's flip a coin. I would have certainly wanted him on my team if I had to win a big game, because he showed over the course of his career that he could do that. With his numbers over the course of his career, I would have no objection with him going in, but I could understand why guys would be voting for other folks. And you know, it comes around every year where Maddox is coming up, Glavine is coming up, a number of other pitchers are coming up along that line, and it gets to be a little more difficult for guys who might have made it in years past but haven't made it yet.
And there's a base hit. Hung a changeup to him. And Torrey with the throws off the mark. So the 2-out double by Connor. That's his 11th 2-bagger on a mistake from Max.
Well, a couple of things. Gillespie, number 1, doesn't have great speed, but he also realizes that Torrey Hunter is going into the corner, so he's got to go away from the throw. Hunter doesn't have the best right fielder's arm around, although he gets rid of it quickly and does a nice job. Throwing it on the money and that kind of throw is almost impossible. What do you think about Jack Morris going in?
My thoughts are almost a blueprint of yours. Almost a blueprint. If you look for the big game, yeah. Would you like him on your team? Yeah. Are you a better team with him? Yes. Overall, other pitchers might decide that.
It's going to get interesting because we've got some exceptional players starting to come up now. And that's going to make it more difficult for the guys needing 75% of the vote to get it. The guys who have not got it to this point.
And that's by fielder. Just shoves that ball out there. So with 2 out, nobody on. A double by Gillespie, a single by Tank, and it's a 3-0 ball game.
RBI number 49 for Viciedo. This one hanging right over the middle of the plate. Prince Fielder was way off the line, not even considering that Viciedo would go down that way. I don't know, I'm just saying this, and it might be me, but that appears to be the biggest hit of the game to this point.
The senator over here.
Well, I mean, that's a big difference. 3 runs, 2 runs. Huge difference.
Tanks walked his first trip. If we would let him, he would filibuster for the rest of this game.
Now, Chris Sale's a happy man to have that extra run. I will tell you that. In fact, I don't think you can have too many runs against this Detroit team. And I say that because Scherzer was down 6-3. He was out of the game at this point to the Oakland Athletics. And the Tigers came back with 4 in the 9th to win that game 7-6 and get Max a no decision.
Well, here it is. A little over 3 weeks to go. And for me, I think the most resilient club in the American League that can bounce back after a tough loss like that, after a tough series, for the Oakland A's. Boy, they just keep bouncing back.
Well, they've been remarkable this year. In fact, they come into action tonight with a 1.5 lead over Texas, only 1 game up in the loss column. But if you look at their talent and you break down their team, Texas has a lot more ability.
I don't think there's a team in the American League that's got more TW than Oakland.
They have the ability to play as a team as well as any group out there, and it seems like it's a different guy each and every day.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got very good pitching, but they have an offense that doesn't overwhelm you.
There's a shot, base hit. So Jordan's going to be held to the single as Hunter gets over, gets it back in. So don't stop now, boys. Keep going. 2 out, nobody on, 1 in, and runners at the corners.
And the pitches are piling up. And so with the inability to shut the door here in the 4th inning, Jeff Jones comes out. He wants to have a word with Scherzer, who got the 2 quick outs, despite the fact that Paul hit a rocket, hit it right at Santiago, and then 3 base hits in a row. And Scherzer, at the very least, will have 83 pitches before he gets out of this 4th inning, and quite possibly a few more than that.
Yeah, that Oakland team, they like when you get into a ring with somebody and you hit them and you hit them and you hit them, and they keep coming back, and you hit them some more and they keep coming back, and you hit them. You just got to knock them out before they'll stop coming back at you.
Well, there's a whole lot of folks who felt that as soon as Texas made their moves at the trade deadline, like that would be about it. that they would pull away from Oakland. Oakland would probably have a good shot and probably win one of the wild cards. But Oakland's not going to settle for that. Now they might get beat by Texas.
Yeah, I still think Texas is going to win that division. But Oakland, to me, is the most resilient club. Donaldson has just been unbelievable for that team. Crisp has had a good year. We're driving in big runs. But it's one guy, whoever. It's just they just keep coming back.
Well, the Angels with a very disappointing year, but it's all Athletics and Rangers. And along with Tampa Bay, who also shares that wild card, it's going to be quite a race for the final wild card spot.
That could be trouble. Could be trouble. Yes. And the ball's thrown away. So Tank scores. Now Jordan here comes around. He's going to score. Two more will cross the plate. And it's a 5-0 Sox lead. Yes. All coming with 2 out, nobody on.
Pretty sure that's going to be base hit E1. Because even if he makes that throw, he's not going to get Fegley at first base. So a swinging bunt, and you couldn't have rolled it out there any better. Fegley on a pitch way away from him. And Scherzer with a bare hand pickup and then throws it way wide of the bag. Viciedo scores easily. With this ball rolling around in the corner, Dank scores easily. And for Chris Sale, he's still smiling.
Pick him up. Don't stop now. Alejandro 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored coming in the bottom of the first inning. If you're just tuning in, we get off to a quick start against Scherzer. 2 out. 2-run single by Canerco. So all our 5 runs coming with 2 out. Some we have not seen in a while.
Jose Alvarez loosening up in the bullpen. As Scherzer moves into the upper 80s in pitches, and we're not out of the 4th.
Jacks it up on that changeup.
'28th pitch on the way in this inning alone.
And that's tapped foul. Five, 6-0 for us. 0-1-1 for them.
A good second and third. A very rough first and fourth.
But a crooked number goes up on that board. We'll go to the 5th, leading 5-0. And bring your family to the ballpark for all new Family Sundays presented by the University of Chicago Medicine Comer Children's Hospital. Tickets start as low as $5 and parking is just $10. On September 15th, former White Sox player Vance Law will be on the concourse from 11:30 to 12, signing autographs for all fans. Sox and Comer Children's Hospital teaming up, promote a healthy lifestyle and combat childhood obesity. There it is, our Comcast Sportsnet tail of the tape. Top of the 5th inning, 5-0 Sox. Nick Castellanos takes breaking ball strike. He hit one right off the end of the bat down to Canerco. And that is sliced, and that's trouble. Get foul. It will. Thank you very much. Castellanos, considered to be their top prospect in the organization.
This ball slicing and landed about a foot foul.
And Nick was hitting .276, 17 home runs, 74 RBIs with Toledo. He's got a little bit of shove in that swing. Which a lot of times is very good.
Well, it held him in good stead at Lakeland starting last year when he hit .405 for them.
Usually a guy with some shove in his swing is not a bad breaking ball hitter. Baltimore defeated the Yankees 4-2. There's the strike to Infante. Hit a little soft comebacker to Chris. Strong arm of Beckham. No, bad throw.
Lexi having a pretty good night, goes in the hole, makes a good solid throw, and Gordon does not get off a good return. Time now for the Avis Super Slow-Mo replay, and it's a couple of plays that Ramirez made in the hole. This one with plenty of time against Pena, and the other one against Victor Martinez, where he one-hops the ball off the grass by design and gets it there in plenty of time.
Pretty good pitch right there, did not get it.
Ryan Pena is also a switch hitter, much better hitter from the left side, but he faces Chris Sale as a right-hander. .339 as a left-hand hitter, .276 coming in as a right-hander.
Checks it up, and 2-2 the count. Trying to pull a Beltre on us right there.
You see the disparity and the power numbers.
Well, he set the ball well against us this season. And he did when he was in the Kansas City uniform. He swung the bat well.
He's an ideal backup catcher.
It was pretty good breaking ball right there, back door, and he was able to stay alive.
You got to go out there knowing it's going to be close and do whatever you can do to stay alive. He was able to just get a piece of it.
Well, Pena was hitting .348 against us this year. 8 for 23 with a homer and 3 RBIs. And lifetime against us hitting .278. So he has been effective against our pitching.
And at U.S. Cellular Field, even more effective. So he likes the hitting background. Or the food in Chicago. Or could be both.
And more.
And more.
Yeah, there are a lot of players who could not have played in this town with the Cubs when they were playing all-day games.
Well, you had to scout very well. And sometimes they didn't.
Now they'll turn this one. Rack them up. And we're halfway home. And we lead it 5-0.
Thanks, Skip Lewis. We've got a new pitcher here. So the night is done for Max Scherzer. He won't get number 20 tonight. And it is Jose Alvarez on for the ninth time. He's 1-4, the ERA up there at 6.14. Alvarez was with the Red Sox and the Marlins. And here he is with the Tigers.
And Gordon Beckham at the plate. Starts him off with a changeup. Gordon has walked, scored, and struck out. 5-6-0 for us, 0-2-1 for them. And Scherzer's 5 previous starts there's a little safe fair. It won't, just foul. But in Max's 5 previous starts against us, he'd given up a total of 5 runs.
Different night tonight.
Now, if they don't want him, if they're disappointed, send him over to us, Dave.
Well, I'm sure they'll live with a disappointing year of 19 wins to this point.
Yeah, well, they're 21 wins over coming in. Without him, they're 4 over.
In his starts, 22-6 in the previous 28 starts.
Well, Max, of course, in his career has never had a complete games, but this is the first time in his career he hadn't gone 5 innings.
It's pretty amazing.
This season, I should say.
Pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, just watching him pitch and everything with the stuff he's got, you'd think he'd probably lead the league in complete games.
162 career starts. 162. Yeah. And not a complete game.
Well, maybe it's the manager's fault. Maybe he wants to finish him off. And there's ball 4. So the leadoff walk. So here's Alexei. He's 0 for 2. Going out to right, going out to center. Indians have defeated Kansas City 4-3. Chris Perez nailed it down for the Tribe. They had the bases loaded, 2 out. Alex Gordon at the plate.
If this score holds up, Indians will be 4.5 games back, but more importantly, they'll only be 4 back in the loss column. So before you write this off and hand it to Detroit, we've seen some very strange things happen on the way to the coronation.
I had a real good, well, one of my dearest friends today who knows as much about the game of baseball as most people tell me, don't hand the Tigers the title yet.
Get some of their pitchers.
This was this afternoon.
Get some of their pitchers a little tired at this point.
And the bullpen?
Bullpen has had some problems.
Yeah. So the starters, they get the best 5 starters in baseball. But it doesn't make any difference how good your starters are because they're not going to finish them off. Had these same starters in a different time frame or time zone. You say, yeah, give it to them. They're going to win it because these guys are going to finish them off.
Well, Verlander, who usually finishes a lot of games, has yet to finish any of his 30 starts. In fact, the Tigers, as a team, have just 2 complete games. And there is the 12-11 Justin Verlander. Has not been one of his banner years.
Well, we got back-to-back walks here. Got something going. Let's keep it going.
So with 2 hitters and 2 walks, a familiar walk for Jeff Jones, who comes out once again. Gene Lamont, former Major League manager, currently managing this evening as the skipper Jim Leland was given the heave-ho when his all-world hitter Miguel Cabrera was also ejected in the first inning.
But you know, the most complete games Verlander's had was last year, 6. He had 238 innings. The year before, 251. The year before that, 224. The year before that, 240. A little over 200 the previous 2 years.
That's a lot of work in
this culture.
In a condensed period of time. It is.
Yeah.
Used to be with 4-man rotation. You would be, with those numbers of innings, you would be right the 3rd week of August.
Yeah.
That's what would happen. And you get the 300 innings, 300 plus.
And lately, this year and last year, those innings, just don't tell a real story. It's the number of pitches he's thrown. He's thrown more pitches than anybody in baseball in the last 5 years. As Adam goes down. 1 out. So here's Paulie. Paulie had the big hit of the game. That was a 2-out, 2-run single in the first inning when Max had first base open. Gillespie on deck. Threw Paulie a fastball, a good hittable fastball that he hit good. Line drive back through the middle. Outfield straight up. 1 out, 2 on. Alvarez not going to overpower you. He's a finesser.
It's hard to believe for you that Paul got here in 1999.
First couple of years, Stoney, I never thought he'd make it. I mean, I really didn't. I thought he was going to hurt himself. I really did. He was one of the most. There's a line drive foul. He was one of the most volatile guys on himself. I mean, he would go down that dugout, destroy stuff. He was harder on himself than maybe I've ever seen anybody. Maybe I've seen some guys as hard on themselves as him, but never anybody harder. I remember driving home telling Harris, my wife, one night after about his second year here, or middle of his second year here, I said, honey, I'm worried about Canerico. She said, why? I said, because he's going to kill himself.
How was he able to figure it out?
Well, like everybody else, experience, you know, and he worked hard, paid the price, and his maturization as a hitter has really been a real joy to watch. Change up. So 2 down. Paulie had one thing going for him. All those years, he was one of the best fastball hitters in the game. And when you can say a man is one of the best fastball hitters in the game, he's always got a chance. Now, if he's got a slider speed bat, no. Under those same circumstances, no. But he could always cover the fastball. And whenever our fans who've grown to know Paulie like we have, when they see him and he's in the funk or he's not swinging the bat well, you'll notice he's not covering the fastball. Connor, 1 for 2, a strikeout, a double. Started off that 3-run fourth with a 2-out, nobody on, double. Breaking ball. That one at 80, so again, he strikes out the side after walking the first 2. And we've completed 5, leading by 5. 2014 at the Palmer House Hilton, presented by Miller Lite, Pepsi, Comcast Sportsnet, Xfinity, and WGN-TV. So join current players and White Sox greats January 24th, 5th, and 26th for an exciting weekend of White Sox baseball. Visit whitesox.com/SoxFest for information. Jose Iglesias grounded out to second and almost beat it out. Takes ball one, but yeah, getting back to Cabrera, when he joined us in 1999, you could look at what he's done in the minor leagues before he came up with the Dodgers and went to Cincinnati, where we got him from. And you could see something was there. I mean, there was no question about him being able to hit a fastball. But it took him his first 5 years here to figure it out, which is not unusual because he was still very young. But when you hit 37 home runs and drive in 130 in the minor leagues in one season,
those are pretty big numbers in 142 games max.
Yeah. And there's a base hit. So they pick up their third hit, the leadoff single. And here's Austin Jackson. He has gone out to right and struck out. Good breaking ball. All right, you got to still pitch it like it was a nothing ball game, Chris.
Well, you know, pretty fresh in Chris's mind is that outing against the Yankees where he had them all but put away, but got careless with the fastball to Cano, then left that ball game with a 4-1 lead, only to see, for one of the few times, the bullpen give it up. Chris came away with a no decision in a game that he certainly should have won. So with that in mind, and the fact that he's at 79 pitches, he still should have plenty left and does not want to exit this one anytime soon.
That one at 94. He gone. One out.
This fastball just off the corner, but with 2 strikes, it's too close not to swing and too far away to catch up with. It's only the 3rd strikeout for Chris, not his usual totals. However, that being said, he's only given up 3 to this point harmless singles.
Here's Torres, grounded to second and walked. The only walk that Chris has issued, that was leading off the 4th inning. Gap out there, big gap in left center. All right, right to the bag. No, wasn't hit hard enough. So 2 down. And that'll bring up Santiago. If you're just tuning in,
you're wondering why Santiago's hitting 3rd?
Yeah. And here's why. First inning. They swung at it. Then on the next pitch, he fights it off. Says a little something right there to Gorman, who turned around and threw him out. Well, I know in our time playing against Miguel Cabrera, I've never seen him argue with an umpire.
He doesn't argue much.
Well, it looked like he was just messing with him a little bit, you know, and complaining. Hard to believe he would have been swearing. As that ball gets away. Now they're calling what? Beckley wants a foul?
I think it's a strikeout and probably pass ball. And
he's out. And then the ball hit him. He's out, and then the ball hit him. Strikeout. And that's the end of the inning. So we will go to the bottom of the 6th. It's still 5-0.
Oh, Gene Lamont might get rung in this one. He swung, and when the ball hit him, and I thought that he just missed it and then ran to first, but Josh Fegley noticed it right away, brought it to the attention of Brian Gorman, and Brian Gorman right there says you're out and points to first base. And that's it. Dead ball, strikeout, end of the inning. And we've seen a couple of those. A most unusual night for Brian Gorman and for Chris Sale.
So here we go. Bottom of the 6th. Lower third of the order. Viciedo, Danks, and Fegley. Well, as we mentioned, not counting the 2, Cabrera
and
Santiago tonight, that were hit because they swung it. That doesn't count. But of the 13 official guys he has hit, 9 of them have been right-handed.
Well, you can understand. I mean, it's such a hard-breaking slider that if he doesn't throw the backdoor slider, if he throws one where he tries to throw it at the back foot, if he gets it up, the hitter is going to identify it, swing at it, and more than not, it's going to hit him.
Ball hit hard underneath the glove of Infante. So he did get a piece of leather on it. Slow it up. And here's Jordan Danks. So Tank gets the hit. Danks has walked, singled, and scored. And that's going foul. Cubs shut out Cincinnati 2-0.
That's a huge game for Cincinnati, who entered tied with Pittsburgh, a game and a half back of St. Louis. But Cincinnati now 3 losses in back of the Cardinals.
And this should be. Rack 'em up.
Here's our Xfinity high-speed action replay, and it could be the definitive play of the game. Josh Phegley swings at one way off the plate. It's going to be a swinging bunt base hit, but Scherzer gets to it and throws it away. 2-run score on the play. Goes as 1 driven in for Phegley on the base hit. He won. And it led to a 3-run inning and a 5-run lead.
And don't count those Indians out yet.
The Indians don't play the Tigers again.
That's good.
For them, it works out very well.
Yeah.
When you're 4-15 against somebody, last thing you want to do is see them again.
Josh, that infield single and an RBI. And that's hit softly down to Santiago. And that'll do it. We're into the 7th, leading 5-0. Tenth at 7:10 when our Sox take on these Tigers. Also, the first 20,000 fans will receive a White Sox and Chicago Blackhawks fleece scarf presented by Chicago Blackhawks. So purchase tickets whitesox.com or 866-SOX-GAME. And although it's about 100 degrees in our booth right here on this muggy night, these are really nice scarves that you can see with the Sox logo and the Blackhawks logo. You got the fans going as much as we can. I mean, what else can a man do?
Only thing could be better is if we could have worn this in the Sahara Desert.
Oh.
Other than that, it's absolutely beautiful, and you can get one of these tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, first 20,000 fans, so make your plans. Come on out. Sox lead at 5-0. Prince Fielder. Prince takes first pitch strike. Twice he has gone out to Alexei at short. That is a nice looking scarf. Ate him up right there.
It's hard to believe that exhibition season for hockey is right around.
Isn't that amazing?
Corner. Yes, sir.
With that unbelievable year they gave us this season. And there was a hittable breaking ball, but he fouled it away. Sox with 2 in the first, 3 in the fourth. All of them but one are earned. Max Scherzer. And he just got a piece of that one. Eric Johnson, you'll have a chance, besides getting that fleece scarf tomorrow, to see Eric Johnson on the bump for us tomorrow night against Rick Porcello. And if you can't make it, that game will be over WCIU. Then on Wednesday, Jose Quintana against Anibal Sanchez. And that game right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. He gone.
Good late hard breaking slider way outside, but the spin is so tight that from a hitting standpoint you can't pick up the fact that it's a slider until it's way too late.
So here's Victor. He's 1 for 2. Pirates hitting in the top of the ninth, leading Texas 1-0. Cole against Darvish. But McCutcheon is just tripled with 1 out. And Morneau at the plate. Infield in.
Garrett Cole, #1 draft pick out of UCLA. And he's turned into some pitcher. Considering how young he is. And that's what happens if you get to pick at or near the top of that draft.
And that ball hit deep. It's a 5-1 ball game. He's 2 for 3 tonight. He's 11 for 19 lifetime against Chris Sale.
12th home run, 74th driven in. The shutout is by the boards. A Ford home run replay. A fastball on the inner portion, and Chris Sale knows it's gone when it left the bat. From a pitching standpoint, there is a sound that you can't duplicate, and you just know. You can look, but you know it's gone. You don't even have
to. Castellanos. 1 for 2, a hard single in the whole left side. There's a little pop up on the changeup. 2 down. And that'll bring up Infante. He's 0 for 2. Breaking ball strike.
That one just missed off the outside corner. Evens the count at 1-1.
Two and one. There's a nice motion with that changeup. Yeah, Cleveland won that game 4-3, 4-5-1 for the Tribe, 3-10-1 for the Royals. Alex Gordon, hit number 18. Is he gone? But the home run by Victor Martinez, 7th inning stretch. We lead at 5-1. Bottom of the 7th inning. Alvarez on the bump. Diaz at the plate. 5-7-0 for us. 1-4-1 for them. First pitch strike. Alejandro singled and scored in the first inning. Struck out in the third. Struck out in the fourth. But in that 4-3 victory, Cleveland over Kansas City, I mentioned Gordon hit his 18th. Yan Gomes hit his 10th. Asdrubal Cabrera hit his 11th. Carlos Santana hit his 18th. Perez with his 23rd save. Well, if Indians going to do it, it's going to have to be because of that bullpen. And Chris Perez looks like he's throwing the ball good again.
Well, one of the real pleasant surprises for the Indians this year is a guy that's going to be their #1 catcher next year, and that's Yan Gomes, because he just keeps getting better. We saw him, he was good, and usually when you see an Indians win, you see him somewhere right in the middle of it offensively, and you know that he can catch it and throw it.
Well, he's just a good-looking player. Ate him up inside. He is just a good-looking player.
Ramon Troncoso loosening in the pen.
One and two the count. He did not go. Start us off right here. Let's get some more points. Full count to Diaz. Five runs on 7 hits for our guys. 1 run on 4 hits for their guys. But an error. That was by Scherzer, a throwing error. Ground ball. Infante. 1 out. And you can join our WhiteSox.com blacklist for free and receive the White Sox Wire email newsletter along with exclusive ticket offers, video sneak peeks, breaking news alerts, and more. Visit WhiteSox.com/blacklist. First pitch strike to Gordon, who is 0 for 1 with 2 walks and a run scored.
Alvarez's changeup is pretty good, and he's done exactly what Tigers have wanted him to do. And that is, once Scherzer left after 4 innings, they didn't want to deplete that bullpen, and Alvarez has come on. He's in his 3rd inning of work. Scherzer went 4 innings, gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 6 hits, walked 2, fanned 6, and is the pitcher of record to this point.
So 2 down.
And Alejandro fouled the ball off his leg. which is something he does quite often, and Hermie's taking a look at it, see if he's okay.
As we talked about, between De Acha and Alex Avila, those two guys get beat up more than any two guys in the American League we've seen. I'm sure there might be some as many, maybe more, but not that we've seen.
Well, Alex has spent some time on that concussion disabled list. And by my count, I believe we've had 9 catchers on that 7-day concussion disabled list. Joe Mauer, by the way, is still feeling the effects of it.
That's poked into center field. This is a nice, quick 1-2-3 inning for Alvarez, and we're into the 8th. All right, Kip, thank you very much, buddy. As we get set to go to the top of the 8th inning, 5-1, good guys lead it. It'll be Pena, Iglesias, and Jackson to face Chris Sale. Breaking ball, can't get it. It's a good news down at Southern League. Birmingham defeated West Tennessee 7-5 in Game 5 of Round 1 of the playoffs. They will face Mobile starting Wednesday for the Southern League Championship. Everybody thought that Mobile with the Birmingham, all the call-ups and everything, that they were at a definite disadvantage. But Trace Thompson said, hey, don't count us out. And they won it. Two and one to count. That changeup popped up. One down.
In a huge game for both teams, Pittsburgh shut out Texas 1-0. Cole got the win.
3 hits they got.
And Melanson got the save. So after losing Grilly, Pirates thought it would be pretty tough for him, but Mark Melanson has come on and done just a terrific job for them closing.
Iglesias 1 for 2, a grounder to second that he almost beat out, and a sharp single in the whole left side. Ball and 2 strikes. Watch out.
It's Nate Jones starting to loosen in the pen.
Here you go. 7 strikeouts now for Chris.
Threw that fastball and had the whole plate with it. So apparently Iglesias looking slider didn't get it. And he's down on strikes.
And here's Austin Jackson. Takes first pitch strike. So Chris with 5 strikeouts in the last 2 2/3 innings.
You know, pretty interesting with Iglesias. 2011 at AAA, hit 235. It was in 101 games. Then 2012 at AAA at 266. It was in 88 games. 353 at bats, 357 at bats. So he didn't hit that well in AAA. Come up to the big leagues and hitting unbelievably well.
Well, that happens occasionally. You know, that a guy will come up from the minor leagues. All of a sudden, poof, hits a lot better up here than he did down in the minor leagues. And you might say, why is that? Well, nobody can answer.
Well, lights are better certainly, and pitchers around the plate more.
Well, the lights today in the minor leagues are pretty good. Now, when you and I played in the minor leagues, they were not that good.
No, the 3 of them they had.
Here you go. So a nice inning for Chris Sale. 8 strikeouts, and he leads it 5-1.
Got a new pitcher coming into this, and it's their closer who probably needs an inning of work, Joaquin Benoit. On for the 56th time. He's 4-1, fine ERA of 2.13. As you can see, he's been perfect as a closer, 17 for 17, but occasionally they need some work, and that's exactly what he's getting here tonight. In a 5-1 game, as Chris Sale has gone the distance, out-dueling Max Scherzer, who's departed after 4 innings.
First time all year he did not go at least 5. So Max, who's had a sensational season for the Tigers, started off rough, had no rhythm at all. It appeared in the first inning, taking a lot of time out there. Base hit and a walk, first two guys. Then he got 2 out. Then Canerco made a bad pitch with a fastball after a very long at bat. Not so much as far as pitches, but just in time.
Well, he couldn't hook up with Pena behind the plate. They kept having conference after conference, and eventually he left one up in the zone, and it cost him 2. Later, he helped cost himself 3 in the 4th inning.
Adam pops it up. Get out of here. It will. Adam 0 for 3 tonight. A deep drive to center and a couple of strikeouts. Two and 1 to count to Dunn. One out. And if you want a terrific White Sox experience, check out the Comcast Fundamentals deck at U.S. Cellular Field. You can interact with White Sox trainers, run the bases at the wiffle ball diamond, test your swing at the batting cages. Catch all the action with Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Call 1-800-XFINITY to learn more. Sounded like a broken bat. Off the end. 2 down.
Just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We'll take you back to the first inning with 2 outs and 2 on. Ball comes up, gets a high fastball, takes it into center field where Jackson has some problems with it. And it was a 2-0 game at that point. That is our Miller moment.
Gillespie is 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored. Takes first pitch strike. And a count 0-2.
That splitter from Benoit really is a difference maker for him. He was used as a full-time setup man, and this year they desperately needed a closer, and that's the difference maker.
And they went out and got Veras to slide into the setup position, which was another good move by the Tigers. And there's a high fastball. And now he's going to give it a go. Here's the throw. He's off the mark, and he has picked up his 12th double of the season.
After looking at splitters, high fastballs look pretty good. It kind of goes up and gets it. And he decides to hustle into second base.
Here's Tank. Tank's 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. And that ball, look at the play by Santiago. Boy, that's a beautiful play by Ramon Santiago, the all-purpose player for the Tigers. And we're into the ninth. We lead at 5-1.
After the game, join our Chuck and Bill Melton for White Sox Postgame Live presented by Orland Park Nissan. Get their take on tonight's game and all the action around the league. Don't miss White Sox Postgame Live tonight right after the game on Comcast Sportsnet. Nate Jones comes into the ball game to try to wrap it up. On for the 64th time, he's 4-5, ERA 3.86, 83 Ks in 72 1/3. Alejandro Diaz slides over to left field. Leury Garcia takes over in center field. And Chris Sale goes 8, gives up a run on 4 hits.
There's a bunt, and it's going to go foul. Thank you very much. So Torrey just trying to get on base, as he should. Torrey's 0 for 2 tonight with a walk.
It's a good play. You're 4 runs down. You see Gillespie back at third. And Connor does what he has to do. He can see the ball spinning and realizes that as soon as it hits the dirt, it's going to spin foul.
Santiago on deck. And of course, if you're just getting home tuning in and did not see why Miguel Cabrera is on deck instead of Ramon Santiago, here's the reason why.
2 guys got hit on swings tonight. Then, apparently, Brian Gorman said he had heard enough, and he heard just a little more. And bye-bye Miguel. Bye-bye Jim.
He gone. 1 out.
Blazing fastball over the outside corner. Triple digits.
And friends, if you hadn't checked lately, don't look now, but Cleveland, this game stands as is. 4.5 games back.
4 back in the loss column.
Yeah. And Cleveland with a better bullpen than Detroit. There's a strike. Ramon 0 for 3. Now make it 0 for 4. 2 down. And here's Prince. And this ball game is over. So Chris Sale comes out against Mike Scherzer. Steve, and what was really a tremendous pitching matchup. And Sale picks up the win.
Chris Sale just outpitched him. He went 8 innings, gave up just the 4 hits. His control was almost letter perfect. He did have 1 walk, but 8 Ks, and he got stronger as he moved along, going through 8 full innings, and Nate Jones nailed it down. So a nice way to start a long homestand, and denying Max Scherzer win number 20.
And let's check out our GMC player of the game. It is our 24-year-old southpaw, Chris Sale, our GMC player of the game. So for my partner, Steve Stone, our director, Jim Angio, our producer, Mike Leary, our associate producer tonight, Keon Dolashahi, our technical manager, Mark Harper, the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr., also for the mayor, Mean Joe Groove, and Mike Mayer, Frank D'Amato, Frank Leone, Doug Buller. This is the Hawk. So long, everybody. Coming up next, the Orland Park Nissan postgame show with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching White Sox baseball right here on Comcast Sports Center.